Okay, we're back. Do a quick sound check.
Ooga booga.
Not in yet.
Yada 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 yada.
Okay, we're good.
I hear it.
Great.
We miss you, Aaron.
All right, I'm going to pull us in. This is episode 11 and 12.
Oh,
Okay, here we go. Sorry, I got to get there we go. All right. This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world that we have been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective, as well as the stories we're telling, at thestarfallcollective.com. Hi.
this is all very funny stuff.
I was just doing a little interpretive dance.
Sure. Okay, we are back with episode 11. Let's find out who's in this episode. I'm Sir Robert Burbridge, a father and entrepreneur, and I am host of this season's story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. To give you an idea of what that means I know what the story is, but I do not know what the characters will do. The characters are the originators of what they will do, but they do not know what the story is. So, we'll go through here and start with bottom to top this time. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character that you are playing. Josh?
Hi, my name is Josh, and you can find me all over the internet using JSUICH. That'll find me on Instagram and Facebook and Reddit. And if you go to the Starfall Collective subreddit, we can chat about stuff there. Tonight, I will be playing Gulb, the full-blooded orc. He is a young orc, but large, physically intimidating, with kind of rustic, slightly Nordic-inspired barbarian kind of garb, wearing furs and stuff like that. And, yep, that's me.
Good. Yoshka, Jared?
Uh-oh, you're
Can't
muted.
hear you.
Thanks. My name's Jared. I'm playing Yoshka. He's like what are gypsies in this world, a wayfarer, a human wayfaring bard who is lost and far from his home region in the north.
Good. And Dwight?
I'm Dwight. I'm playing Belvari, a human druid.
And Matt?
Hi, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. I play Diamondback, a shirtless wizard.
Sounds
Is that
good.
a full class in D&D?
Yes, level 2 shirtless wizard.
That's right. And also, not with us tonight, but her character is
It opens up the nipple spells for you.
Yeah. Family podcast.
Sorry.
Sorry. And not with us tonight, but her character is in the party. Aaron is here and plays Davina, who is a druidess, I guess I should say. She is a druidess who focuses on healing and that sort of thing. I played her for the last couple of episodes as well, and hopefully she will be joining us next week or in a couple of episodes. Good. Let's get into the action. So,
Quick recap.
yeah, before we do the... okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm sorry. So, previously, we had the party, after they met with Belvari, who helped them to kill an ape that they had come across. They traveled along for a little while, and rather early in the day, I think it was around 11 a.m., they started looking for shelter for the night because they have made the mistake before of being out and looking for shelter during the night or just not finding great shelter. So they were playing it extra safe. They found a hollowed out tree, which turned out to be excellent shelter for them. During the night, they, in the very first watch of the night, heard a tumult outside. And they heard the rutting of some animal and the utterings of a stranger, which turned out to be Gulb, this orc who was being accosted, maybe even chased by a giant boar. Davina,
No, sorry.
Davina, who was on watch at the time, woke everybody up and implored them to go help this stranger who was helpless. That's something she does. She's very compassionate. They ended up getting out and a little bit wary because it was an orc with a big old warhammer. They stood a little far from him, but together they did manage to slay the beast. However, it was not before Gulb was gored by the boar, perhaps fatally, if not for Davina having thrown herself on top of him in harm's way right next to the creature, and using her components to cast a healing spell that put him back together again. He got up and had a moment of appreciation with her, and showing her that he had a life debt to give her. And as the party learned it could trust each other, they ended up spending an hour going into the woods and butchering the animal, taking 15 pounds of meat, I believe it was, back with them into this tree hollow, leaving the rest of the carcass a little ways dragged off. We pick up with them getting into the tree hollow. It is now relatively cramped because there's an additional person. It was a big tree to start with, so there's enough room. It's not awkward or anything, but they've got the night to sleep. You've got 2 hours left of the first watch, and then 8 hours of 4 hours of watch, 4 hours of watch. So I will let you guys narrate what happens. You have just climbed back into the tree. Everyone is relatively safe. Belvari, I will actually hold out and let you describe whether or not you go into the tree or whatever you're doing, because you're a little aloof from the group. But the rest of you have just climbed into the tree. Go ahead.
I believe he climbed into the tree before any of us did.
Oh,
Yeah, well, they were still arguing about what to do about Gulb. Belvari left as soon as he figured that they were going to yell about it outside.
Fair enough. What next?
And then let's see. Diamondback and Gulb and Yoshka went and butchered the pig. Right? We butchered the pig together, and then I guess we need to make some plans about how to store the meat.
Yeah. So.
Well,
the reason I restricted you to 15 pounds is because that's how much will fit. That was how much you got with the knife that you had available, and you hung it from a tree really high.
Okay. That's right. Okay.
I think it was 15 pounds, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Okay. Great.
Well, Davina, you are going to finish taking this watch. How do you feel about that?
And once again, I'll be ghost playing Davina tonight. And her voice, if you remember from the previous episode, is a little sore, so she does a lot of things through action, narrated action rather than actual speech. But she does nod her head and, shrugs and indicates, hey, we seemed like we handled ourselves okay. That's fine. She's happy to finish this watch out.
And Gulb speaks up and says, "And I will finish with her." And he goes over and kind of kneels down and starts cleaning the brains off of his great axe.
Y'all are all hunkered down in close quarters, maybe slightly smelly close quarters inside a tree hollow. So, just to tell you, you probably didn't walk over to her. You may have inched closer a small bit.
Sure.
Let's say Davina is on one side of the door since y'all are on watch, and Gulb, you're on the other side of this little kind of thatched sort of makeshift covering for the tree hollow's hole that has secured you pretty well. You can see through it a little bit, but it's dark outside, and you've got a small light inside.
Okay.
All right. The rest of you, if you went along rest, including Gulb. I don't know if you need a long rest or not because of you're healed, but you might need one. If you need a long rest, you should negotiate that. There are 10 hours left in the night. Others of you may want to find out what's on your components or something like that.
It would be best for me if I could sleep for the whole night.
Nobody's already asleep.
And I'm going to look over to Golb and see if he looks still injured.
Nope. Golb had a massive, just a huge tusk sticking out through the core of his chest that had clearly impaled him through the heart and both lungs.
My.
And it's that spot. There's a little bit of a hole in his hides, but otherwise he looks fine.
You got both of your... Do you have all your hit dice?
Yeah, I went from 9 to 0
No,
to 9.
I mean hit dice. Your hit dice.
Oh, I don't need to use them.
Right.
Erin brought me up to full with her heal. So
heals doesn't give you back any hit dice.
But he didn't use any.
No, she healed me after.
Right.
Oh,
never mind.
Yeah.
No,
I don't need
about
hit
a
dice.
completely different thing.
I know. I don't need hit dice. I'm okay.
Cool. I do. I used one of them, and I'm not at full hit dice. So Diamondback should sleep.
Okay.
I am also quite tired from our journey. Strong sir, I was to take the second watch. Will you do me the honor of taking it? Thank you. And who was third? We sorted this out before you came.
No, I think Diamondback was going to be third, but we got woken up during the first watch. So
okay. Well,
Davina lets you know that what she would like to do is she'd be happy to do a short rest so she's not overly fatigued tomorrow, but she's happy to do the whole night if she can take a short rest, maybe at the beginning and end.
Thank you.
We do that.
Great.
Okay. I lean over to Davina and encourage her to. I got it if she wants to start sleeping right away. But that's it. Go ahead.
I think that Diamondback during the night and in the close quarters, probably by the morning light, has ended up snuggled up pretty close to Belvari.
Belvari has a dog between him and Diamondback.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Poppy.
Diamondback and Belvari probably are. The dog is probably like sleeping half on one and half on the other.
So
Belvari is very small.
Great. So sorry, give me 1 second.
Sure.
So the night goes by. For the first couple of hours that Davina and Gulb are on watch, Davina feels pretty relatively safe with Yoshka there. She doesn't know Gulb yet well, but she recognizes the significance of the silk, the very, very nice quality silk bracelet, essentially, strand that Gulb had given. So she feels pretty confident he's not, going to betray them or anything. And so she keeps watch, but also lets herself nod off a little bit here and there, telling Gulb, something like, wake me if I'm asleep for very long, because she wants to keep watch. But she also makes sure that she is not exhausted for the next day. The watches pass without further event, and the night goes by. There are normal sounds outside of, owls or other animals. Belvari?
Belvari would like to wake up exactly 8 hours after he goes to sleep.
Okay. Is that something common for Belvari? Is he able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Belvari, that means you wake up at, let's see, give me 1 second here. And you went 8 hours later, which means you wake up at, what would it be, about 4 a.m. approximately, a couple of hours before dawn.
Cool. He would then try to sneak out.
So you can try to sneak out. Gulb and Davina are awake, and they are next to the door.
Yeah, that's. I mean, trying to mostly not wake people up. He's not like.
Oh, okay.
Trying.
So basically, why don't you act that out? Your request to leave or whatever. They see you wake up, of course, and they're like, good morning or whatever they say.
Belvari waves at them and goes out the door.
There's no door. You would be very significantly blocked, so you're climbing over people to get out. It's like there's 5 of you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you in a small tent.
Can I make an athletics roll to get out?
No, you just talk with them a little bit, or at least kind of indicate somehow that you're trying to get out, and they interact with you and make it feasible to get past, Gulb.
Gotcha.
You
I
step on Diamondback's face.
I kind of point at the door and start inching towards it.
And Davina puts her...
Can I make an athletics check to not step on Diamondback's face?
You don't need to. We'll say by fiat you didn't.
Aww.
And so Davina puts her hand to her throat because it's still feeling a little bit sore, and she whispers to you that it's still dark out.
I'll be all right.
Will we see you again?
Shrug.
Belvari shrugs, not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they certainly don't want to keep you there if you don't want to be there. And with a little bit of, let's call it disappointment, because she likes Belvari so far as a contributor to the party, Davina, moves out of the way and helps slide the kind of makeshift thatch door out of the way. It is pitch black out in the night. There are no fireflies right now. There's nothing like that. It's just Belvari leaving.
Cool. I'd like to feel my way down the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Just, keeping my hand.
Okay.
What does Gulb see Belvari openly wielding going out into the jungle? Like, what weapons are on Belvari that are visible?
I got a quarterstaff and a sling. Yeah.
So the sling might be in a pocket or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think Gulb offers him basically a piece of obsidian that's got, you could use it as a dagger, or you could tie it to the end of a stick, and he just kind of hands it to you on your way out.
Like an obsidian shiv or spearhead?
Yeah.
Belvari nods thankfully and accepts it.
Okay. You can add that to your inventory.
Gulb shakes his head.
So there are a couple more nights a couple more hours of nighttime. And I mentioned last time that we all did a roll, and I believe it was Gulb, Yoshka, and Diamondback who had a shared dream. Well, not a shared dream. They each had a dream that was materially identical. Here's the dream. I'll tell it again. I told it last time, but I want you to, have it fresh in your minds. In the dream, you are still walking through the forest, the jungle. It's not a particular spot that you're familiar with. It's not well known to you, but you're the only one there. Gulb, you're the only one there in your dream. Yoshka, you're the only one there in your dream. Diamondback, you're the only one there in your dream. You don't feel particularly anxious or threatened or anything, but the light is dwindling and day is becoming night. You know that this process is slow. It takes half an hour for the light to completely fade away, and you're about a third of the way into that. It's the beginning of that process of twilight. You find that ahead of you is a rather placid-looking clearing, and so you walk into it, and in the dream, because you don't have a specific reason, but it's because it's the kind of thing, like in a dream when you do something and it just seems like the obvious thing to do, you sit roughly in the middle of the clearing, and it's an unusually large clearing, large enough that the canopy overhead breaks, the low wood overhead breaks, and you can see up above in the dwindling light the higher canopy of the great trees. And as you sit, you're not doing anything in particular, but just enjoying the scenery, something you would have probably done on occasion in your life before. Although probably not out in the wilds during the dying of the light. But around you, you see these little fireflies alighting from the ground, lifting off, and lighting up for a few moments and then disappearing as they do. And you see them coming upward off of the grass and the ground around you, all around the clearing. Not unusually dense, just fireflies. But as they do that and they raise up a little bit and they raise up a little bit,
fingers in a wizard's pose, as though you're Emperor Palpatine shooting dark force lightning.
Can you all hear me?
I think you might be back. Yep,
There
you're
we go.
back.
Sorry, my whole internet connection froze for a sec. Okay.
Huh.
So the
Let me check
fireflies...
Twitch.
So the fireflies are going upwards, and they stop doing that at about 5 or 6 feet in the air. But you notice, and you look up, and around the edge of the clearing in the canopy above, almost like a ring inside of the clearing's hole, almost like a halo of the canopy, there's more fireflies coming up there. You get the impression that it's almost like they're rising up off of the ground up there as though it were a whole other surface. It's a canopy, you can see that it's leaves, but they're acting like they do on the ground level, but in that hole in the canopy. And they do that for a few more moments, maybe a minute, and you're watching them with some interest and wonder at the beauty. And they disappear as they did before, and far, far in the distance, who knows how high, your best guess would be 1,000 feet or more in the up above. In the canopy above, you see more fireflies, or the same fireflies, doing the same basic thing way high up. It registers with you in the dream. You are aware that that's really too far to see. You shouldn't be able to see that far. But you're seeing, something really far away, these little ring of lights. That fades out, and you are just sort of mulling that over, and the oddity of that whole experience. Even finding a clearing that has a hole in the canopy above you, the lower wood canopy, is unusual. And your attention comes back down, and hovering in front of you is an ethereal shape. It looks like it could be an object, or it could be a symbol. Gulb, you recognize this symbol. This is something that you have seen before and is intimately familiar to you. Diamondback, you also think you've seen it before, but you can't quite place where. And Yoshka, you're in the same situation. You're not... You're acquainted with the symbol, but it's not familiar. You see the symbol, and it is an ethereal, shimmering bluish white. And over the course of not very long, maybe a minute or 30 seconds, it also has flickers of yellow, and then those yellows become orange, and those oranges become red. And before too long, it appears that instead of being a sort of ghostly, ethereal blue and white, it appears to be almost as though it itself is made of fire. It's not dangerous, it's not ominous, but it then, after a moment, dissipates. No smoke, just dissipates into nothing. And you continue seeing the yellows and the reds and the oranges, because in the distance, far away in the forest, in a ring all the way around you as you look around, the forest is ablaze. You're not exactly concerned about that. You're not exactly fearful, but living in a forest as you do, you know what a fire would mean. And you also know that it's something that the Iron Bell doesn't tolerate. Then you continue sitting there, and in your dream, nothing really changes. You have a sort of almost fade to black sort of situation, and you find yourself awake with your eyes closed. Gulb, in your case, you dozed off for a few moments, for long enough for the dream, and you all three had this dream. Gulb, you had it during the time that you dozed off, that you and Davina had worked out that it was okay for you to doze off for a little bit. Yoshka and Diamondback, you don't know when you had this, except that when the dream stopped, you realized you were awake in the dark with your eyes closed, right at morning. Now, let's cut back to Belvari. Belvari, you just exited from the hollow tree. Do you want to talk about anything that you're doing? If not, that's okay. We can go back to the party. But if you would like to, we can do that.
No, yeah, he would like to climb down the tree and start to edge away kind of carefully, trying not to run into anything. Reaching out and kind of putting how close are the trees together around here?
It is not. They're to give you a local reference, it's approximately like Duke Forest. The trees are not tightly packed. It's a mature forest. There's not like a lot of bramble and scrub underneath. It's mature trees that are spaced a good 10 feet apart, 15, 20 feet apart. Now, one of the things you do need to know, Belvari, is that when you wake up and leave, as you're leaving, you notice that there is a bit of rainfall. You can hear the sound faintly above, but you can feel the drops occasionally filtering through the leaves above you. And it's not a torrent or anything, but you can tell it's going to be a little rainy.
Gotcha. It's fine with me. I'd like to ease about, 100 yards away from the tree and kind of sit down.
Okay.
And at the base of a tree.
Okay. And do anything?
Yeah, I pull out one of the teeth of the spiny-footed antelope, and I kind of concentrate on it like my parents taught me and try to turn it into a deer or an antelope.
Okay. And does that... This is an ability that you have as a druid, right? For our listeners.
Yes, it would be wild shape, which lets me assume the shape of a beast that I have seen before. And in this game, the additional thing is I have to have a piece of them.
Yeah. So in this case, sorry, just for our listeners, as he was saying, because magic has to be cast through these components, that's the way you get magic out of the world. It's not just to any creature he's seen. He can take any component that he has and use that to shift into the beast. There's a little bit of, we don't need to go into the details now, but there's a little more detail about how powerful the beast is and how many components he needs. That's actually a rule that's also in D&D for how to shift into powerful beasts. But that means that if he has a component, he can take that component, use its magic, and if this ability or spell works, he's able to shift into the form of that creature, that kind of creature. So, Belvari, tell us what happens when you do use the component. It does sublimate in its little familiar whooshing poof. And what happens, if anything? If it's successful, what happens? If it's not, what happens?
If it's successful, I become a spiny-footed antelope.
Is it successful? What are the... You tell me.
Oh.
Or yes, I can tell you if I should.
Successful.
Okay,
because
great.
I am now a level 2. Basically, Belvari's been doing this every morning, and it usually doesn't work.
Okay.
So that he would be like, oh, hey.
It worked. Okay,
it worked.
So... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is Belvari has been trained by his parents to... He knows this secret of being a more powerful druid, and he's been practicing for, as long as he's been on... before his parents showed him how to practice. He's been doing it every morning and has not really been powerful enough to execute this form of magic. He has components in his pouch, and every morning he goes out and he's often by himself and alone doing his things. So every morning he goes out and practices as his parents taught him to do. And this morning he seems to have become a powerful enough druid to take this magic into him. You said it was the what of a spiny-footed antelope?
Tooth.
A spiny-footed antelope tooth. So he takes it. In this case, it's a tooth. He rubs it in his hands. It's hard, right? He rubs it in his hands in the way that is familiar. It poofs into the magic, and he feels himself, his bones shifting and not breaking, but like dislocating. There's discomfort associated, but not pain, because it's not just that a bone is popping out of its socket. It's that his whole skeletal structure is shifting, and the musculature changes, and he feels himself gaining pieces where he didn't have them before. He's an antelope, so he's becoming an antelope. So his jaw kind of cracks and stretches into this antelope shape. The whole process, first of all, it's a little surprising to him and brand new, but it takes a couple of minutes for it to happen. During that time, he's largely unaware of what's happening around him because he's so focused on this new thing that's happening. But when he recovers his awareness, he finds that he is standing in this forest in the dark, no longer with upright posture, but he can feel a lot more power in his haunches, on his legs. His arms are doing something different. He's oriented really differently, but he does feel completely at home in this body. That's part of the magic, is he's very comfortable as an antelope. Belvari, what do? You're an antelope alone before dawn. You have Belvari's mind, and also tell me, do you know what happens with your component pouch or your belongings? Do they magically kind of form?
Yeah, all my stuff just kind of disappears into the body.
Okay, but you don't have access to it exactly until you turn back into human.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You can. I wouldn't be able to cast any magic, but you can. Say I turned into a baboon and I happen to be an armor user. I could say, "Hey, the armor stays outside."
So you have some control over that as you do the magic. Okay, that's great. That sounds good. In the case of an antelope, it's somehow safely within you, maybe ossified inside or something like that. Sounds great. And
Belvari also would have while he's doing this, he kind of locks eyes with his dog, and his dog's seen his parents change, things like that. He's a little worried that the dog will freak out and run off, and he's hoping to keep that from happening.
Okay, so the dog stays.
Yeah, it's up to you, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give it a roll, and unless it's a very bad roll, he stays, because he knows you. He's roughly familiar with it. 13, you're totally fine. Yeah, the dog more or less gets what's happening and understands you as still Belvari.
Gotcha. So Belvari would just kind of gambol around as a deer, and then probably kind of tuck down and wait for light.
Okay. And you've got 2 hours. So what I'm going to do, we've already narrated that those guys are dreaming and they wake up in the dawn. So over the next 2 hours, as usual, there is a possibility of an encounter if anybody's out in the forest. I'm going to just roll for those and see if you get one.
Gotcha.
No encounter.
Oh, as a note, I would only be a deer for 1 hour. So.
Oh, okay. It lasts for 1 hour. So that first hour, you did not have an encounter. You turned back into Belvari, I guess. Does that happen automatically or at will or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after an hour, you just automatically.
Okay, so you've got about an hour-ish left of night. What do you want to do? You're out alone in the woods.
Yeah,
not far from them, but you still are alone in the woods.
I would just kind of sit at the base of a tree, and I know I can't see very far, but listen and stay alert. And
okay.
Then I would like to. No, yeah, I would just do that.
Okay. Then roll a die with me, and if you win, it's a 20-sided die. Roll it. If you win, and a tie goes to you. But if you win, there's no encounter. If I win, there is.
Nice. I think there's going to be an encounter. I rolled a 4.
Okay. I rolled a 9. There is an encounter.
Nice.
Give me a second, and I will tell you what that encounter is. I've got to pull up my... Do me a favor, roll a 12-sided die.
Okay. D12. That's the almost D20 looking die.
That's
5.
Did you roll?
Yeah, 5.
Oh, 5. Okay. You found a... All right. In the pre-dawn light, prowling around, you came to a lion came upon you. Let's get to getting.
Run away.
Let me see.
Beat feet, bro.
Yeah. So what I want you to do is, it is dark out. You are paying attention. Roll me initiative.
Okay. Plus 0. I got a 10.
Okay, great. That means you go first. Basically, in the initiative, the lion rolled a 4, or I rolled a 4 for the lion, or whatever. So that means you are not surprised. The lion gets you, and you're going to fight. You can do whatever. The lion is about. You hear it prowling around. It wasn't specifically like trying to prowl and hunt you. It was just kind of walking around, but it detected you, presumably by scent. And I'm just going to pull up a quick impromptu encounter between you and a lion. There it is. Add it. I don't know how to only add a couple of you guys to the encounter, so I'm just going to run it with this, and I think you're all in there. Do me a favor, everybody roll initiative in case y'all get pulled into the fight, but I'm just going to have it be Bavari and the lion at first.
7.
Okay.
21.
7. Gulb had 21. Davina has 3. Yoshka,
21.
you also got 21. Gulb, you got 21?
Yes.
Okay, great. And the lion.
Golb's dexterity is a +2.
Okay. So Belvari, you go first. The lion.
Okay.
The lion's about 20 feet away, 20, 25 feet away from you. Let's say 25 feet away from you. It detects you, and you detect it at about the same time, and it's prowling around, and it's a good time for food. So
Nice.
you
Belvari,
can't see it, but you know where it is by sound approximately.
Belvari reaches into his component pouch, pulls out maybe I'll do this other thing. Maybe I'll do that. How far away is it?
You hear it about 20, 25 feet away, and you can't see it at all. So you have disadvantage on anything you try to do to it until you can see it.
Gotcha. Belvari will pull out the gland of a green-footed cougar, and he will wild shape into a cougar.
Is there a limit to the number of times per day, for example, that you can do that?
Yes, 2 per short rest.
2 per short rest. Okay, no problem. Sounds good. So you turn into the cougar. It takes you, as before, quite a bit of turns.
No, it's a bonus action.
Oh, it happens as a bonus action? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So you do that in your turn. Let's say that your adrenaline makes it take only a bonus action. Canonically, if you're just doing it recreationally, there's a shifting, but if you're if there's danger around, we'll say you're doing it really, really fast. So great. You are now a cougar, and that was a bonus action. Do you want to take an action?
And also this time, if possible, I would like to absorb into myself my dog, but I understand if that's not possible.
I'm going to say that's not possible right now, but we can talk about whether that is something you can learn.
Oh, gotcha.
Because, you can't then you'd be able to absorb people or whatever.
Gotcha. I will trust my dog to live its life then and climb 40 feet up the tree.
You will. Your dog may try to do that, as dogs aren't wont to do. Okay. Are you going to do anything else with your turn?
No, I'm 40 feet off the ground. So.
Oh, you climb 40 feet off the ground. You
Yes.
climb up the tree. Okay.
Yeah, I'm using the Panther beast card. I figure that's closest to a cougar.
Sure, that's fine.
Is a 40-foot climb speed.
I think that I'm just gonna look up this lion here. Keen smell. Let's see. Okay, lions can climb trees. I just looked on the internet. They often hang out in trees. Okay, so the lion.
For what it's worth, they do not have a climb speed in D&D Beyond.
I believe you. Then I will just use its regular speed for climbing. So,
Which is faster? The panther has a 50 feet speed and a 40-foot climb speed. The lion has a 50-foot speed.
okay, fair enough. So it's 20 feet away from you. You went how far up the tree?
40.
Okay.
My full
So during
climb
this,
speed.
during this round, the lion that was not especially focused on you at first hears you scramble up the tree. Does not know exactly what you are because it's also dark for the lion, and it runs to the tree, hears you scrambling up, and scrambles up. It gets an additional 20, about halfway up the tree to where you are. It is now about 25 feet below you.
Gotcha.
Okay, it is your and your dog barks, and
Nice.
barks up the tree at the lion, or or whatever kind of dog
Gotcha.
it is. Okay, it is Belvara, your turn.
Okay.
Bolvari, I think that you could use your regular move speed in addition to your climb speed, but at the regular half effectiveness penalty that a regular move would have when climbing. I'm not sure about this.
Gotcha.
I guess it's for our DM to rule on that.
Is that normal that it's half effectiveness for climbing?
Yeah, if something doesn't have a climb speed or a swim speed or whatever, then they can still do that thing. It's using their regular move, but
Okay.
it's just much less effective.
Okay, half as much effective.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll say the lion's about 30 feet below you, and it's just basically that's how far it got. But you have a climb speed, and so that's your full movement speed when climbing is 40 feet.
Nice. I guess Belvari's a young kid. He doesn't know what's what. He's going to try to pounce on the lion.
Do it.
If he moves at least 20 feet straight towards a creature, which I'm assuming straight down counts,
Mm-hmm.
and then makes a claw attack,
Mm-hmm.
the target hits with a claw attack. The target must succeed on a DC 12 strength saving throw.
Okay, sounds good.
Or be knocked prone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will do a claw attack. It's +4 to hit, and I do it once I get within 5 feet of the lion.
Okay, and you're just basically pouncing on it from above, death from above, and you're raking it as you go down.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Let's see. It is a 19 to hit.
It definitely hits. So first, tell me how much damage the claw attack does.
Claw is 1d6 plus 3. D6. That's a 6, I guess. I rolled a d6 and it just looks exactly like a 9 the way that it landed in D&D Beyond.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's a
So
6.
9 damage.
All right.
1d6 plus 3.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, now I have to do my DC, what was it, check?
DC 13 strength saving throw or it's knocked prone.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, wait, no. I was just looking on Lion. For Panther, it's DC 12 strength saving throw.
Okay. I got a 14, so not knocked prone.
Yep. Right.
Okay. Good. And do you have anything? And I guess you fell past it, like you're back on the ground.
Yeah.
Because you were falling out of the tree. You raked your claws down it. It's now 15 feet above you, and you're on the ground. And do you want to use any movement?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm far enough away that I don't get a disengage, so I will run as fast as I can away.
The lion
I will
roars.
try.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I make a sound as I go past him.
Sounds good. The lion roars in pain. You heard it pretty well. It is. It's not like near death or anything, but you did quite a bit of damage to it. Feeling you fall past it, and hearing you thud on the ground, it also leaps off and attempts to chase after you. Going. So it's now about 15 feet behind you and chasing you pretty well in the dark, because you're also in the dark.
Yeah, gotcha.
Is there any chance that the others of us hear the dog barking or any of the
Yeah,
commotion? Or is this
you
just
were
all
close
too
enough.
far
Yeah.
away?
Also, Gulb is awake and definitely would hear big cat noises and Belvari's dog barking. So, Gulb, if you want to do something, this would be a good time for that.
I think probably as soon as Gulb hears Bolvari's dog barking, he's going to immediately turn to Diamondback and the others, but especially make sure that he consults Diamondback and shake him awake and say, "The little one's dog is barking. We must go."
And do you want to also try to leave during your turn? I'm okay for that. Or do you want to try to... I'm okay with that's like a bonus action to tell him that. Do you want to also, in your action...
Yeah, sure. And then he can use his bonus action to move up to his speed. And so I'll use my standard action to talk to everybody else.
Okay.
I'll use my bonus action and my move action to double move.
To where?
In the direction of the sound.
Great. So you make it about to where the dog is barking actively, which is at a tree, and there you go.
Okay.
That's your turn for the dog barking part.
Yep.
Diamondback, what do you do?
Diamondback gets up.
I thought Bolvari had the next initiative, didn't he?
I'm narrating what happens in the tree first.
Just near. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Diamondback gets up and grabs his stuff and jumps out of the tree and follows Gulb.
Okay.
He goes as far as he can. He's got 30 feet walking speed, and he'll dash.
Okay. And Yoshka, your passive perception is 10. Let's see what happens here. You do wake up from it, but you're disoriented. You just hear, you just see Gulb and Diamondback jump out of the tree. Davina is nodding off right now. This is part of the time where she was sleeping.
Had I already completed my long rest?
Yeah, we'll say your long rest is completed. Yoshka, you're muted, I think. Jared, you're muted.
Oh, what is going on?
And you
That's
only
how I
see
spend my turn.
So
Yeah.
Gulb would have. Yeah. Okay.
Yoshka, you only see Davina. You see only Davina in the tree with you, sleeping, and you saw Diamondback and kind of through out the door, Diamondback and Gulb like leaping down to the ground, but they disappear into the blackness.
And you may have a lion's roar like tickling the back of your consciousness.
So right after that, they actually we retconned that because Gulb said he heard the dog barking, which is before the attacks. So what actually happens is after a couple of seconds after that, you hear a large cat doing a kind of cat screechy hissy thing, and then a lion roar, 2 thuds on the ground and scrambling away into the night, and the dog continuing to bark and run towards the cats.
Can I retcon just a little bit?
Do it.
And have, if there's a fire lit, can I have Diamondback, instead of dashing, use his action to light one of his torches?
Sure. And we did say that y'all had kept a small light in the tree.
Yeah.
So you can use that to light your torch and then get down to the bottom of the tree, basically.
So Diamondback has a torch lit, and he's gone 30 feet towards the action.
Okay. Because of that
And,
torch, and they did
Gold
not
has
go.
raced on ahead.
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, because of the torch, and because they had not gone super far away, Belvari had not gone super far away to try his shapeshifting. You are able to make out Gulb and Yoshka. Gulb and the dog. And in dim light, Gulb, it's also dim light around you now, cast from his torch. You're able to see the dog barking up the tree, the cougar, I think it was, falling down, and then the lion falling and running after the cougar away from you about 10 feet, and the dog runs after and chases them. It is now Gulb's turn. Now we're going to go through full initiative turns in order.
Okay, I think Gulb charges in the direction of. So, what does Gulb need to make any kind of perception check to tell exactly how clearly he sees and assesses the situation?
You know what happened. You saw a big cat, two big cats fighting, and for some reason, Belvari's not around, but his dog is, and his dog seems to be chasing after the action.
Then Gulb is right with the dog.
Okay.
And he's
Great.
he's just clearly flanking the dog, not immediately behind him, but to the side and just behind, so that the dog can see that he's following
Okay, and
his lead.
And you run off into the dark. If Diamondback chases you, he'll be.
Can I make an animal handling check to see how well I cooperate with the dog?
No, you can just follow him. He's totally focused.
Okay.
He's just looking for Belvar, looking out at what he's doing. If you run into the darkness and you can't see well anymore, but you can hear the dog next to you, there's no starlight, moonlight, anything. It's just black. But, hopefully the dog doesn't run into a tree, and then you don't if you're following behind it. But if Diamondback also gives chase with his torch, you'll move back into dim light. You'll be able to barely see. Yoshka, you're next.
I am going to look over at Davina, listen up, and then decide to just hop out the hole without waking her.
Okay. Do you return the covering to the hole?
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of keep her safe?
Yeah.
Okay. So Yoshka hops out, makes it about 30 feet. Are you gonna go in the direction of them, or are you just gonna stand at the bottom of the tree?
Yeah. Once I've done that, if I can see any of them,
you can see
them.
You can see Diamondback because he's holding a torch. So yeah. Great.
Okay.
You run towards Diamondback and you make it to about where he is. Belvari is next. You are in cougar mode.
Nice. Do I have any way of telling where the lion is?
It's running feet behind you.
Can I turn and attack him?
Yeah, absolutely. He's about 10 feet behind you. If you turn, he'll catch up to you as a part of the action, and then you can just attack him. He'll be in range.
Nice. So I will turn and bite that lion. It is +4 to hit. So let's roll that. Roll. That is what it rolled itself right behind the clear all button. I can't even see it. Okay, it's a 6 + 4, 10.
It does not
I don't
hit.
think that hit.
So in the blackness of night, you quick spin around and you hear the lion, but you misgauge how close it is, and you do your kind of cat roary thing that cougars do, thing. You claw in the dark, but you don't hit it. You can tell it was a near miss. You got close, but you did not hit it. The lion, hearing that, is kind of aware of where you are. Diamondback, it's your turn.
Diamondback is going to move. What can I see from where I am holding this torch? Can I see them fighting?
No, you see Gulb and the dog sprint off into the dark, and you can hear past them probably what they're going towards.
So Diamondback is going to only take his movement to move forward. He's not going to dash.
Okay.
And for his action, he's going to prepare an action.
And what action are you preparing?
The prepared action is going to be to use a component to cast the Chill Touch spell, which has a 120-foot range, and that's going to be as soon as he sees anything attacking one of his friends.
Okay.
So he's moving forward, not at a full sprint, but at like a run, not dashing, and preparing to cast this spell as soon as something comes within the circle of the light that he can see that's attacking one of his friends. It's gonna get a chill touch right in the face.
Okay. So here's the chain of people that we see, or people that are in this scenario. For our dear listeners, there are two wildcats fighting, one of whom is Belvari in cougar form. It's cougar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One of them is Belvari in cougar form, and the other is a wild lion. 15 feet behind them are Belvari's dog and Gulb. So he turned to fight, and that you caught up a little bit. You're 15 feet away, Gulb. 20 feet behind him is Diamondback with a torch. So you give them dim light where they are. And then 5 feet behind Diamondback is Yoshka. It is Davina's turn. She doesn't toss or turn on her turn. She simply continues to sleep because she was awake all night long, keeping you guys safe. The lion attacks. He, hearing your prowl, it is also pitch black for him as well. He hears you, screeching, and he does a claw attack as well with disadvantage, giving him an 8. Does an 8 hit you?
No.
Okay, so he does the same claw thing. It's pitch black, but you're clawing at each other, and he roars. You can hear each other. You're getting closer. It is now Davina stays asleep. It is Gulb's turn. You are about 15 feet away from them. You can't quite see them yet. Sorry. How long does a torch throw a light in D&D? How far? Does anybody know?
Let me. I've got the.
Torch equipment burns for 1 hour, 20-foot radius.
20-foot radius.
Dim for additional 20, so 40 feet total.
So,
hey, can we sort something out first?
Yeah, what's up?
We both rolled a 21, and now it's kind of relevant, like who would go first.
Okay, sure. What's your dexterity bonus?
My score is a 15 with a +2 bonus.
My dexterity bonus
or just your score, dexterity score.
For a saving throw? Oh, 14.
Okay. D&D Beyond, when I put 21 in for both of you, put Gulb first, Josh first, and then Yoshka, which I think it does. You break a tie in initiative by dexterity.
Yeah.
And we have the same dexterity?
No, he has
no more than you. He has 15,
score. You have 14.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So Gulb, since the torch gives dim light for regular light for 20 feet, and dim light for another 15 feet.
20.
Sorry, for another 20 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
You yourself and the dog Gulb are in full light of the torch, full torch light, and in dim light you can see both the lion and the cougar now fighting each other.
Okay, which should be enough for me. I know you said everyone has dark vision in this world. I don't know if it makes a difference.
No one has dark vision.
Or no one does. Okay, all right. Okay. So, yeah, I think Gulb would move up closer if it's dim, because I think he's looking for the body of Belvari between these two cats. He assumes that these two cats must be fighting over his body. So he's going to try to get in there. And can I use one of my abilities? I've got a spell that I can cast called Thunder Wave. And he would probably just try to blast the two cats away from the middle.
It's going to hurt them. Thunderwave.
Oh, you know what?
And it would
Actually,
if they're fighting over Belvari, right
yeah,
there.
I think actually he might cast Fog Cloud.
Before you do
I
that,
think.
the dog's actually. I didn't have the dog in initiative, but he is there.
Oh, okay.
He
Go
runs
for
up
it. Yeah.
and makes a bite attack. Give me 1 second.
Yes. Go dog.
Which
Go,
does
Poppy.
hit for 1d6 plus 1. I'm just using a dog from. He does 3 damage to the lion. He grabs the lion and bites it and does that whole dog shaking the head when it's got something thing, and does 3 damage to the lion.
And
Yikes.
Gulp would recognize
Yeah.
Belvari's dog.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's very different.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that Gulb would then. Oops, sorry. Give me 1 sec. Just got to pull up the right one. I think that he would take out that big warhammer and go over and smack that lion with the warhammer. And the lion is being harassed. So, yeah. That's a 16 plus stuff to hit the lion.
It does hit.
Okay.
AC 12.
Okay. In that case, whoo! 6 plus 5 is 11 plus. Sorry, give me just 1 sec. It's only plus another one. So 12 damage.
So you get close in there. It is now dimly lit where you are. And also, the forest is starting to get a little bit of breaking light just because we were in the last half hour before dawn. Just starting. It's dimly lit. You Gulb, seeing the dog attack this lion, runs up to it and without strategy as far as where to hit, he's not trying to hit it anywhere. He just takes this giant stone of a warhammer and just swings it up over his head and pulls it down straight on the lion's back. Does massive damage. The lion is severely wounded. It is not dead, but it lets out a blood-curdling, screeching howl. It's not a roar of anger. It's this really deep, pained, shrill cry. It's in very bad shape. You've severely damaged its back. You hit it, smashed in the middle of it. And it's angry and scared and hurt super badly. Yoshka, it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm with Diamondback.
Yeah, about 5 feet behind him.
I was imagining us going together. I'm just going to keep following him. I was imagining we kind of synced up at some point, but I don't know how the
what's your
turns
movement
work that
speed? So the way initiative works, you have to say what you do before he does, and then he can react. He can base what he does in combat based off what he sees you do. So it's
okay.
You could
Well,
not do anything and just follow his lead.
I'm gonna go with him to the fight we hear.
Okay, so you don't do anything. You catch up to Diamondback on this turn, and whatever. And if I'll say, and you're saving as your action. If Diamondback moves, you're going to move with him. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Diamondback, you are 15, 20, about 40 feet away from the action. You can see in dim light what has happened with Gulb. You've heard what's happened. The dog, the hammer blow, the lion. What do you want to do?
Yeah. So I'm going to move until the action is within the bright light of my torch.
Okay.
And then I see clearly that my ally Gulb is attacking this lion, right?
Yeah, you saw that happen.
Yeah, so I'd go up there and I'd chill touch it.
Okay.
So I'm going to take out a.
Hey, you want me to sing you a song?
No. Don't worry about it.
Your trigger for this action was if you saw something attack one of your allies.
As soon as it became my turn, that went away.
Okay, great, got it.
all that can do is delay my action until my next turn. I would have to re-up it on this turn if I was going to use it.
Okay. So your chill touch.
Yeah. So I'm going to take out one leg of an orange-winged yellow jacket, and I'm going to do my cool ninja hand gestures on it, and it's going to poof into black fog. And I'm going to create a ghostly skeletal hand in the space of the lion. And here comes my
Can I quickly, while I see him doing that, I would use my bonus action to sing a short verse to help him do better.
You can do that on your next turn. This turn you held to follow his lead, and your next turn you'll be able to do that.
So that's a bonus action. I don't know if that makes a difference.
It doesn't.
It doesn't for order of turns. In your turn, there's several kinds of things you can do, but it has to happen in your turn.
Okay.
So my spell attack is going to be actually not very great. 7 + 4 is 11.
And what do I check that against? Just armor class?
Yep.
Yeah, 12. It misses.
Okay.
So what you see happen is you do this chill touch, this spectral hand coming up, and around the lion, this sort of random thing, you see 4 or 5 or 6 spectral hands reaching up and grasping and clawing, but none of them quite make contact with the lion as it is writhing around. It's not evading, but they just don't quite grab it. And then they disappear back into the earth. Go on.
That's my turn.
Okay, great. Now it is the lion's turn. It has just been
Mauled.
Decimated by Gulb.
Literally mauled.
It has been mauled by Gulb. And it wants to, return the favor. It turns around.
Gulb.
Gulb looks around, realizes Davina isn't nearby. It's like,
it rolls a...
Where's the competent woman?
It does a claw attack on you, Gulb.
Okay.
Rolling a 17.
All right.
Does it?
That hits.
Okay, and
That
it does a total of. Ooh, I rolled a 6. It does 9 damage.
Son of
Youch.
Hang on.
Why don't you tell us what happens there?
Dang it, I'm not a barbarian. Ah!
Don't you have an orcish thing that if you get reduced to 0 hit points, you...
No.
There's not like a orcish...
I have the ability to react, but I don't have...
Any reactions?
The only reaction that I have to have at least 1 hit point to use, and I currently have 0 hit points.
You actually have, when a creature within 5 feet of you can see hits you with an attack, which has happened, you can use your reaction to cause the creature to make a dex saving throw, or it takes 2d18 lightning or thunder damage, your choice. Half damage on success.
So, that's true. My reaction interrupts theirs.
Yeah, reactions are instant before your
Okay.
flesh fully realizes how rent it has become.
I'll use my reaction to explode with lightning damage, and he needs to make a DC 13 dexterity saving throw.
Yep. And here's what I'm going to do of you, Josh. I see in your inventory you have Shocking Grasp on one of your components.
Sure.
Passively, you're not going to do it on purpose, but passively, because when you will it, that's going to go away. So decrement that by 1.
Okay.
You're aware of it happening, but you didn't have to reach into your pouch and do it.
Okay, sure.
What happens is, if you did not have one of those, by the way, I was going to not let you use this ability. If you didn't have anything that was kind of electrical.
Similar, yeah.
So, yeah. See that Shocking Grasp there on the Ichor?
I got it.
Okay.
There we go.
It's
I was
going
just
to roll.
changing the color.
It's a dex check, you said?
Yep, DC 13.
It rolls a 9. So how much damage does it take?
It takes dun, dun, dun. You've been 13 points of damage. Thunderstruck!
So here's what happens. This is important. You all will know that lightning is an extremely rare phenomenon here, right? It does not, you don't see lightning in the canopy. You don't see lightning, floating around. It comes from magic. You know it as coming from magic. The guard in the town, when Diamondback and Sleene and Yoshka and Davina were there, conjured this fog above you, and lightning came out of that fog for some reason. That's just how that magic works. And it was a cloud, right? But to your understanding, it's this mist in the sky, in the above the town. So what happens here is, Gulb, you have this reaction, and in your particular case, it's because of the way this reaction is working as an orc, right? It's this reaction of getting hurt really badly, and it's a rage, right? It's a intensity of fury, and you, without having it to intend to, one of the bits of magic in your pouch that had this electrical magic in it just sublimates, and your whole body, like Raiden in Big Trouble in Little China, your whole body just starts crackling with power as you get severely wounded. And as you fall to the ground, your body just it spasms and is racked with the pain of the injury, as well as being spasmed by the electricity. And it almost at once, the entire area around you for a good 200-300 feet is illuminated with a blinding white glow. And an arc of power of electricity just shoots straight out of your chest at this lion directly in front of you, which doesn't explode entirely, but it is ripped clean in half at the part where you had smashed its back, and it is just singed and crackled and crispy. You did a lot of damage to a deeply wounded animal, right? It falls, it rips in half at that part, kind of flies in half, hits the ground, and the bottom half of it just falls to the ground, and the top half falls, and it flew out in the air a couple of feet, and it falls to the ground, and when it hits, it cracks into several pieces because of how charred it has become. As soon as, and the little tendrils of this worm of electricity flow through the ground, radiate out in every direction, don't do any damage, they're just kind of dissipating. The whole thing was in a split second. There's this blinding flash. It returns back to dark. Everybody's, recuperating, able to see. The lion is no more. The cougar standing there, he'll talk about what he does in a moment. What you know now is there's another wild animal, right? And the dog. Well, you don't actually know that, Gulb. You are unconscious on the ground after this electrical burst forth from your person. You lay unconscious on the ground. What Diamondback and Yoshka and Belvari see is that this lion just raked his claws down your whole chest and torso, ripping you open. And as that happened, you, racked with pain, lifted a few inches off the ground, shot this blinding light out, and collapsed to the ground. They are all quite impressed. Now it is Yoshka's turn. Yoshka, you are very keenly aware that the lion is dead. Gulb is maybe dead. The lion's definitely dead. You saw it fly apart and junk. Gulb is maybe dead, but he's lying on the ground, and it is your turn. Belari, were you going to say something?
Did I get a turn that turn? This round?
You are next after Yoshka.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm trying to imagine this scene. I guess I'm confused.
That makes sense.
What's I'm gonna look to the dog. And what do you do? How do you do that? Where it's you
hold an action.
Yeah, I'm gonna look to the dog and hold my action and just see what he does.
And what are you planning to do? And what's the trigger?
Attack the cougar.
So the trigger is attack the cougar.
Or
That
or
sounds
like
great.
go with the dog somewhere.
Well, you have to tell me, like, I'm going to do X as my action when Y happens.
I'm going to follow whatever the dog's lead is.
Unfortunately, that's
not an
how
action.
it works.
That's like a description, a meta description of an action.
You have to
I'm going to
literally
take
say
the action the dog takes.
you have to say I'm going to take the attack action, or I'm going to take the move action, or I'm going to cast this spell, basically.
That kind of thing. Or you can actually
So
say, I'm shocked and I'm not going to do anything until I see the
Yeah.
dog do something.
You could say, if the dog attacks the cougar, I will attack it with this attack.
So the hold action is to forestall this game mechanical problem where like one character can burst through a door and then attack another character when the other character has actually been ready for it all along and would actually do something before they even got there. So you would say like, as soon as I see that door open, I'm gonna swing my sword at them. And it represents like just in a couple of split seconds, your character's waiting for something to happen. You're going to react right to it. It doesn't include like making a decision about what you're going to do.
This has been D&D done right with Matthew Talamini.
So what that means for you, Jared, what that means for you practically is holding an action is not holding your action slot. It's having a particular action and you're holding off on it until the right moment. So if you want to say, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, I'm going to follow the dog's lead, that's totally cool. But what that means you're doing is you're skipping this round, and on your next turn, you'll make a decision based on what you see the dog do.
Mechanically, you are expending your action, your D&D action that you get for this turn. You're using it to create a reaction. And that reaction, it actually expends your reaction as well. And that reaction is whatever action you could have done. And it happens as a reaction to whatever you specify to the DM.
You can't do anything. You have to decide right now what.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Go for it, Yoshka. Jared, what do you think?
I'm having a hard time imagining this story. So what did I even see?
You saw... I'll just give you a quick narrative of the past couple of rounds.
Diamondback's light was shining on the fight between the two, right?
Yeah, the area is illuminated by a torch, so you could see the cougar and the lion fighting a little bit. They missed each other. The dog ran in and grabbed and was able to bite the leg of the lion, give it a good bite. Gulb, seeing that, ran up ahead of you. He's 20-something feet ahead of you. He ran up and smashed the lion on the back with a hammer. In a rage, the lion, profoundly hurt, just circled around and raked his claws right down Gulb's body.
Oh, so we're back a bit. Me and Diamondback are 20 feet back or so.
Yeah, you're like 30 feet back.
20
feet. And so...
Okay,
and then
I'm just going to wait for the dog then.
Okay, that sounds fine.
I'm going to be in like a defensive posture, if that does anything.
You can do dodge.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'm going to create a dodge trigger.
Okay. When the
No,
dog...
you can like actually dodge right now if you want.
Or a dodge reaction, I guess.
You use your action right to dodge, and that means that your AC is going to go up, and you'll be harder to hit.
So, and just for our listeners, when you take the dodge action, you focus entirely on this turn, you're avoiding attacks. Until the start of your next turn, any attack rolls made against you has disadvantage. If you see the attacker, you can make a dexterity saving throw with advantage. You lose this benefit if you're incapacitated or if your speed drops to 0. So in other words, Jared, what you described and what Dwight correctly pointed out is taking a defensive posture in this case. There's a mechanical way to do that. It's called being on your toes and dodging anything that happens. That's a great one. Okay. Let's have that was Yoshka. It is now Belvari's turn.
Belvari, as the cougar, runs over towards Gulb, and moments before it looks like he attacks him, turns back into Belvari. And Belvari looks at Gulb and tries to see, like, is Gulb
Oh, what? Oh, it's you!
Is Gold at 0 hit points?
Yep.
And
Gulp is
unconscious.
lying there unconscious.
Nice.
Does it
Belvari will...
does it take your action to revert back to a human?
No, it's also it's a bonus.
Okay. So you
Bonus
used your
action.
movement to get to him, although he was really close. He hit the lion, so you're a couple of feet, no big deal. And you use your bonus action to, like, instead of pouncing on him, you Belvarify, and
Belvarify.
that's right. And then you do what with your action?
Belverify, but
I mix together some orange winged wren droppings, that's hard to say, and sweet wood orange tree flower.
Okay.
Rub them together and cast healing word on old Gulb here.
Okay, and that's a level 1 spell, and you're level 2, so you can definitely cast it. What happens when you do that? What is it? What is the effect of healing word?
Healing word?
And what
Gives-
healing word do you speak?
I whisper it so no one can hear it except me. Sorry, I need to get back to that tab so I can click
got
on
it.
it and see what.
A
you
creature
got
of your choice that you can see within range regains hit points equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
Nice.
It has no effect on
Which is
undead or constructs. So
2.
1d4 plus your spellcasting.
Nice. 1d4 plus 2 is 5. I got a 3.
So Gulb, you get 5 hit points back.
woohoo!
Okay. It is.
I'm above half, baby.
We're gonna finish out.
You're gonna have the most scars of everybody, of
Yeah,
anyone.
so basically he's got a huge hole here, and now there's a like
Close game.
4 raking lines here, and so it's
All
like
the way top
hole
to
is
bottom.
the hole is touching the line, and then there's 3 more in parallel past it.
So that
Every shirt tells a story.
that's right. So now that Belvar, you just did that. Diamondback, you see this happening because it's in a light. It's getting a little less dim slowly, but your torchlight is casting a clear light on this, and you see this cougar pounce on Gulb, and as it right before it lands, it becomes Belvari, who pulls out of his pouch and just lands on Gulb, crushing, smearing these components on Gulb's chest, on his wound, which becomes this black smoke that wisps around and sucks into the claw marks, knitting them shut with scars. And that all happens in a moment. And Gulb, having been deeply raked through his like lungs and everything, coughs and hacks, and you see blood spurt out of his mouth as he regains his consciousness, regains himself. And Gulb, would you try to sit up?
Yeah, if he's got 5 hit points, he'd get up, yeah.
And Gulb kind of coughs and hacks this blood. It's remnant blood from the wound, right? And he clears his throat and gets it out and stands up, once again alive.
And I think he, seeing Belvari in front of him, Belvari's facing him, so he's going to like put a hand on Belvari and kind of push him behind him so that Belvari's continuing to move in the same direction, and Gulb is going to get up his maul and basically start looking around and say, "Where is the other one?"
That was me. Belvari's really excited. He's like, dudes!
Gulb slowly turns and stares down at him and says, "Next time, please do not try to play kitty cards with monsters in the forest. Yeah?"
Belvari's just smiling, ear to ear.
"Is he special?" He turns and looks at the other guys. He's like, "Why do you have him?"
No, he is not. You can come and go, friend, but we won't always be with you. Well, should we make an early start of the morning?
So it's getting to be dawnish time. You know that Davina is back in the hollow tree. As far as you know, safe. There's no reason she wouldn't be. It's a good stable tree, and you've only been gone for a few minutes. it has begun, as the light has come up, it has begun to rain. It's not a heavy rain, but today's going to be a brooding, gloomy, rainy day. And it would make sense for you to go back. I'll let you narrate what you do. Go back and kind of get ready for your day. But before we do, I'll let you narrate it. But right after we narrate, we will take our break and end this episode. So why don't you tell us what we'll do, and then I'll round out the episode, and we'll pick up after the break.
Belvari looks for pieces of lion.
And Gold picks up the big one that's solid and just hefts it over his shoulder.
I'm not sure there's a big one.
We have plenty of food, and we are hurt. I think we have this tree. We stay here a day. You have enough. Maybe we can find something on the lion. You can do your studies, Diamondback. We can rest.
If we will all stay near the tree, that seems the safest course. Or if we go out in groups.
Okay.
This has been...
Golb is intensely and profoundly uncomfortable at the lack of authority in this situation. But go ahead.
I'll tell you what we'll do then. That is where we'll end this episode. We'll pick up next time with them resolving this social tension that Gulb has just articulated, that Josh has just articulated for Gulb. That's where we'll end this episode. Thank you for listening. You can get more details about the world and the story we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. For those of you listening on the stream, we will be back in 10 minutes at 9:10, let's call it 9:10, 9:12. And thanks. See you in a little bit. This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world that we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective, as well as the stories we're telling, at thestarfallcollective.com. We're back with episode 12. Let's find out who's in this episode. I'm Sir Robert Burbridge. I'm a father and entrepreneur, and I'm the host of this season's story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character you're playing. Matt?
Hi, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island. You can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, Talamini.com. I'm playing the shirtless wizard, Diamondback.
Dwight?
My,
Hey, I'm Dwight. I'm playing Belvari, and I am a human 16-year-old druid who is newly capable of turning into things.
And Jared?
my name's Jared. I'm playing Yoshka, a lost human kind of gypsy-ish bard who's trying to find his way back up north.
And Josh?
And I am Josh. I am a fraction of the father and a fraction of the entrepreneur that Sir Robert is, but I am both things. And tonight I am playing Gulb. Well, I have a fraction of the number of children and a fraction of the number of businesses, and yet I am a true participant in both phenomena. So it's, it is what it is. Sometimes being part of a thing is better than a whole. So I am tonight playing...
I'm an improper fraction of the father you are.
I thought you were an irrational. Sorry. I'm probably the irrational one because I'm non-terminating in my Logoria. But anyway, tonight I'm playing Gulb, and Gulb is a immense orc who's nearly 7 foot tall, very massive, very powerfully built. Very wise, and bears the runes of his religious and cultural upbringing. Not really runes, but markings and scratches and stuff in his accoutrement. And he's got hides and a little cape that keeps the rain off of his shoulders and upper back.
Like when you say markings, you mean war paint and stuff like that?
Yeah. Not like full on written runes, but notches that are orthogonal and stuff like that. Easy enough for the eye to pass over, but if you know what they mean,
sure,
they mean something.
And not joining us in person tonight, Aaron plays Davina, a human druidess who is in and out of the action. She's with the party, but because Aaron is not here, her player is not here, I'm going to be managing her movements on Aaron's behalf and trying not to get her killed. So let's get started. Previously on The Dying of the Light, we had Belvari found out that he has matured in his druidic sagacity and has learned how to take on the forms of other creatures, a kind of magic druids can do. And in the forest, if he has a piece of that creature with him, he is able to...
Whoa.
It's frozen right now. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, but my side is frozen.
I can hear you now.
There we go. And if he has a piece of that creature with him, he can take its form, take the form of that kind of creature. He turned into a cougar in the night, and... by chance, when he reverted back to his Belvarian ways, a tiger
turned into an antelope.
That's right. He turned into an antelope, and when he reverted back to his Belvarian ways, a tiger chanced by and
A lion.
Dang, man, I should have been here.
Antelope, lion, cougar.
That's right. He turned into a human again, and a lion chanced by and breathed hungry, murderous threats against Belvari under its breath. Chased him up a tree. They had a conflict. In the end, Belvari's dog came to the rescue by finding the others in the party more or less with his barking. They chased him down, like Lassie to the well, took the team over
What
to
is
the
it doing?
lion. That's right, indicated where the threat was. And mostly Gulb, although everybody helped in various ways, decimated the lion, was decimated himself, and Belvari returned to his form and healed Gulb. We pick up with them having decided to go back to Davina. They've been gone only for a few minutes from Davina. They're going to go back and see how she's doing and make sure that everything's okay. They're debating whether to stick around in this place. They have a hollowed out log, which is extremely tight for them, but it could be their new home. Or they can try to make their way. It's been a while since they've seen a town, and I will tell the listener and the player alike that as you've been traveling, you've seen hints that you may be near another town in the direction that you've been going. So, there is reason to think that staying is safer, and there is reason to think that moving forward is safer. Gulb had mentioned that he is getting a little bit disturbed by the lack of immediate action. So let's jump right in, and it is the very beginning of day. You can see dimly, a dim light all around you, and so now the torch is no longer necessary. Diamondback, you should take a torch out of your inventory.
Already done.
Great, and let's pick up from here with you guys walking the, let's call it, 2 to 3 minute walk back to the tree.
Belvari first walks around picking up every piece of the exploded lion he can find.
Yeah, would you like to try to get components out of it?
Yes.
Okay. And Gulb, do you have any... You see Belvari trying to get some components out of it. Do you want to...
Yeah, Gulb I had said that Gulb was already also going to be walking over to the lion, and
right.
because Yoshka had said, hey, let's get everything back and analyze it there, Gulb was just going to pick up the back half of the lion, the heavier part, and start carrying it. But if Belvari wants to try to do something with it, that's fine by Gulb.
And Gulb may be suspicious that taking a carcass right back to your little homestead might attract creatures. So
no more or less than the pig. We've already got a huge pig carcass somewhere, so we can use that area.
You dragged that off
too. We took the pig carcass off in the way. Yeah. So Diamondback says to you guys who are carrying pig pieces, if you
lion
pieces. Sorry. If you gentlemen would like to butcher that corpse, I would appreciate it if you would take it over to where the pig was butchered, so that it doesn't lead predators back to our tree.
Gulb turns and looks at Belvari and says, do you know the way over to this place?
I'm just...
If they don't know, I'll take them over there.
Sure.
So let's say y'all drag the lion there, and you're going to get some components out of it. The lion was really badly injured, so the amount you're going to get of each of these components is going to be halved of normal, but you still have a chance to get some. It's no problem. Let me tell you what you find. And are you just going to try to get every component that you can possibly scavenge from it?
I would imagine so.
Okay. It is a... why don't you can put this into the party
pack
for now.
Belvari is not looking for any meat. He's only looking for...
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. What do I need to turn... Can I use meat to turn into it? Or is it
no, the components. You can use the components.
Gotcha.
And there is no meat from this. It has been just charred.
Gotcha.
Is somebody going to type this into the shared
Already
component
there.
pouch? Okay, great. And I'm going to just really quickly edit for you. There are quite a few components that you can get. Give me 1 sec. I'm just going to say that this is a white-toothed lion. Great. Here's what you get. Why don't we have one of you, Belvari or Gulb, roll me a d10 to tell me. Actually, roll me. I'm sorry, a d6 to tell me how many components you're getting out of it.
I'll do that. 6.
Oh, good. Okay, here's what you got.
Okay.
You got one piece of tail, two claws. These are the things that didn't get damaged beyond use. One bit of blood. 2 pelts, 2 pieces of the pelt. 1 bit of tongue. And 2 of the fur.
Okay.
All right. There we go. And again, I halved the amounts. That's why they're so low. Halved the amounts because of the damage to the lion. Great.
Okay.
Great. Go ahead and take us back to the tree narratively. Any one of you, Diamondback or whoever.
Yeah, so Diamondback will leave them to their butchering by where the pig was, and he will go, and as the light slowly starts to filter back up into the forest, he will stand outside the entrance to the tree where Davina is presumably sleeping inside, and he'll begin to examine some of the components that he hasn't yet identified from his own pouch while they do the work of butchering.
Okay. Gulb, you are not there right now, so you're not going to see him identifying the stuff in his components. That matters for whatever. Y'all need to worry about that. What do you want to identify, Matt? You've got, let's say.
Sure, I've got a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How many can I do?
This night, I'm going to let you do. There's not a whole lot of time left. But you're going to fill the hour between up till dawn. So you're like at 5:45 or whatever. You just finished fighting this lion. So for this bit, you have one more. You can do one right now before Davina wakes up.
I'll chew on one leaves of the blackwood fig tree.
Okay. The leaf. It has a level 2 spell on it. Blur.
Interesting.
Which is that's a fun one. And you're level 2 now, so you can cast it without risk if you have enough of them. Okay, it is Belvari and Yoshka. I don't know. Yoshka, did you go back to the thing or did you stay with the butchery to stand guard?
I went back.
Okay. Do you want to look for any component? Try to identify any components? Or does your pouch...
No.
Oh, I guess you've seen all of them in your pouch.
I'm gonna look around for a good place to make a small fire and start cooking some breakfast.
Okay. Yeah, no
everybody.
problem. You find a good, reasonable place, and by previous consensus, you do it a little bit away from the entrance to the tree, so, animals won't be attracted there. But there you go. That's fine. Belvari and Gulb, by the time that Diamondback has finished, Davina is waking up, and you're returning to the tree. It is now 6 a.m. We are starting our day, as it were, and you are returning with the components that you found. Okay, 6. Sorry. So for the 6 to 7
Can we do
hour.
experience too?
Sorry?
No. Can we do experience too?
We'll do experience when you rest.
Okay, I see.
Yep. When you've had some time to digest what happened this day. And really get some experience. So it is 6 o'clock for the 6 to 7 hour. You can, pack up and make it. Try to find some way into the woods. You can.
Well, I think
look around for components.
I think what Diamondback will say to Yoshka is, Yoshka, this is the safest place that I've been for days since I was forced out of my village.
Mm-hmm.
There's not yet any place I've been where I've spent the night and not been attacked, except for that tree. I wonder if we could perhaps fix it up a little bit today, spend another night here, and rest and collect ourselves.
That is exactly my mind.
So I suppose Diamondback and Yoshka will propose this to Gulbin, Belvari, and Davina and say, like, hey, last night we had a terrifying experience, or not last night, but the night before we had this terrifying experience, and the night before that we had another terrifying experience, and for Diamondback, 3 nights back he had a terrifying experience, and this is the first night he's had, like, hey, 8 hours of rest with nothing waking him up to try and kill him. So, like, he would like to stay here, and is sort of proposing, like, hey, let's take a few hours in the morning. Maybe we'll hunt some. Maybe we'll, like, see if we can make this tree more defensible, put some fortifications on it, or, like, make it even more safe for tonight, etc.
So, Davina is agreeable, and she's ready to follow Yoshka's lead on it. But she does, and you know this about her, she is a defensive expert for towns, or, she's training to be one, and she likes the idea of trying to find a place, but she's happy to defer to Yoshka and now Gulb, who are both, being protective of her that way. And she's happy to agree to whatever, but she lets you all know that she'd like to, at some point, try to find a town.
But that's yes, fine. Of course.
Me too.
Diamondback has plans, but they depend on him being safe.
Yeah, relatively not dead.
And as we're talking about this over breakfast that I'm serving everybody up, I say, now Gulb, we are now getting close to the region my family used to trade with. We are looking for some very good friends I want to introduce Diamondback to. We would love to have you along, but I see we are all very weak, and you are injured still. Will you spend some time and rest?
He turns and looks over at Davina and Belvari and says, "You have kept my blood from spilling on the floor of the forest twice. You have kept my water from the ground and the rain. I am honored to keep roof with you."
Thank you.
Great.
So Diamondback would like to...
let me just tell our listeners, anybody who's listening or joining on the podcast, during the day, there's several main actions you can take. The players can take. They can try to figure out what magic is, if any, is in their components that they have that they don't understand. They can try to forage for more components, and there are some interesting nuances of that they have yet to explore. They can attempt to make some progress towards some destination in the forest. Or they can do any other sort of narrative and fun element they like playing Ring Around the Rosie. So, each of you gets to tell me what you want to do for the 6 to 7 hour. Diamondback?
Diamondback would like to get Davina and whoever else would like to assist with this to try and Swiss Family Robinson this tree to whatever extent is possible.
I'll join in.
Here's what I will let you do. I want you to describe what you would do. Let me describe the tree in good detail as far as the hollow and what's happening. And then you have to tell me what you want to do. If you try to do something like, just to give you a sense of this, if you try to do something like cut lumber from the forest, make some 2x4s, and make a platform and so forth. If you were to try that, what I would do is, based on what you describe, I would assign you a number of days or weeks that would take.
Right.
If it's something more mild, of course, obviously it might be hours.
Yeah, we don't have carpentry tools or anything like
Yeah,
that.
you're not ready for that kind of thing yet. So what we're going to do is, sorry, 1 second here.
Hey, I have a hand drum.
That's great.
You do? I have lost my drum. Oh, you must let me play sometimes. I have some songs. You will like some cat songs. I made a song for my cat.
So all of that is terrifying. Let me. Nice. Let me describe this tree. So the tree is approximately 8 feet diameter. It's a very mature tree. It's big and chonky. It's 8 feet in diameter. The hollow is 6 or 8 feet off the ground. If you remember that, sorry, not the hollow. The entry hole is about 6 or 8 feet off the ground, where some large ancient limb has broken off. Once you get inside, there's about maybe 6 inches thick on the inside of the tree, right? Of intact wood. It's nice thick wood, but the hollow part is about a foot shorter, so it's about a 7-foot diameter interior, right? That you can sit around in. Last night, or yesterday, I should say, before night, you had thrown dirt into the tree, so the uneven bottom of the hollow you leveled out. It's about 5-ish feet, 4 or 5 feet tall remaining, so you're not going to be able to like stand in there, but you've got a quite a bit of space because from one side to the other, like I said, is about 7 feet. So if one of you sits with your back against the wall, the other sits with your back against the wall, and you stretch your feet towards the center, your feet are gonna touch and overlap. So it's not like roomy, but you're also not like having to pack in like sardines. There's room in there. It's not, when you're all in there, it gets a little bit stuffy and warm, but it's way, way better than you getting warm and stuffed into some creature. And if you were to, I'll give you some sense of some modifications you could make. I would be happy for you to be able to drill out, like with a little piece of flint or something, a couple of holes near the top of your area, and that would make a little more, little more pleasant for you, including allowing you to have a torch inside there that's not going to fill you with smoke and make you, die or asphyxiate. You could try to you can't really make it much bigger. You could try to maybe get another 6 inches out of the top, make it taller, but that's not super important. One thing you possibly could do is if you can find, we can roll for it, but if you can find some logs or anything like that, I would be happy for you to make a little platform coming out of the hollow of the tree. When I say little platform, I mean something like lash a few logs together and, a couple of feet wide, a couple of feet long sticking out. So there you go.
So the 3 projects I would like to, I would put forward would be to try and, as you said, make some kind of chimney up through the top so that we could have a fire on the inside. I would also like to, as far as is possible, to create any kind of ladder. Not like a rope ladder, but if anybody had like
a step or two,
like hammering wedges of wood into the outside of the tree that you could put your foot on to get a foothold, and handholds, like wooden pitons basically, or whatever.
So
and both to get up to the hole in the tree and to get down from it, just to make humanoids getting in and out easier, and also to see if there's any way that somebody who's on guard, if we can find a place up on top of the tree that we could make it easy in some way to get higher up and back down, so that like whoever's on guard can be sitting up on a branch up high,
like a crow's nest.
Like a crow's nest. If something comes close, then they could throw rocks at it, or a couple of us have slings. I can shoot spells at it. Also, I would like to try and clear the area around it. If there are bushes and scrub that something would be able to hide in to sneak up on us while we're in there, like to spend a couple hours just yanking up bushes, hauling sticks away, just trying to make a clearing, like a clear area around our spot, so that when we are guarding it, the person who's on guard will be able to see anything coming up on us more easily.
Okay.
Like try and make it a little castle as much as possible.
So what do you want to do first? And do you want to pitch this idea to others and have them help you? Do you want to try to do it on your own?
Yeah, first I want to pitch this idea to others, and maybe two of us could take one project and two of us could take another, and we could roll and help each other, and thus get advantage on the whatever the check is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
Are you guys up for trying to improve this place as your day task?
Yeah, Davina and I will pitch in.
Okay. Belvari, do you want to help?
For all day.
At least
For
they want.
how long?
They're going to pick a project, do it. It'll take an hour or a couple of hours, and then you can decide if you want to pitch in the next project.
Okay, Belvari's in for one project.
And
He
Gulb?
looks like
Sorry.
he's grumbling.
Okay. Gulb?
Gulb is spending the first hour of the morning sleeping and recovering from 5 hit points up to 9.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. While Gulb sleeps, the four of us. So like me and Davina, or I would say like Belvari and Yoshka can set to clearing, because I'm not super beefy and strong. They're maybe a little stronger than me. So maybe Yoshka and Belvari can like clear out the area around the tree, while me and Davina will work on nicing it up, trying to make a kind of chimney and trying to make the entrances and exits and a way up onto a crow's nest type place possible.
And
In which case, Gulb is probably sleeping immediately outside, since everybody's like working in there and coming and going. He's just made a little hut, a little hovel in the bushes a few feet away.
Cool. Belvari and Yoshka, if that sounds agreeable to you, I would like for each of you to roll me a D4. This is going to tell us that you're effectively rolling with advantage. The lower rolls, you're working together, collaborating. The lower roll is how many hours this takes you, this task.
3.
Okay. So y'all spend 3 hours clearing a nice good circle around of brush and other debris. You're not cutting down trees or anything, but you're making it visible what's happening around you, maybe making it obvious, like if there's anything in any underbrush you're clearing away. So I'm going to give...
probably takes 3 hours, because after the first hour, Belvari is extremely grumpy that he's having to do this.
Fair enough. And I got Belvari and Yoshka, you spend an hour... Hold on. 2 hours, 3 hours for both of you. No problem. Diamondback and Davina are going to... You're trying to like make the chimney hole and do what else?
Make the chimney hole.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the first thing we would like to do is find a way up to a sturdy branch from which we can watch.
Okay.
That's task alpha. Task beta is make it easy to climb into and out of the inside of the tree.
Okay.
And the third task is to try and knock out a chimney of some kind.
Okay. What I'm going to do then, find the branch. What was the second thing? I'm sorry. Into and out of the tree, and then the chimney.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a D4
Because
as
I don't
well.
want people having to roll their athletics checks with disadvantage when we
Sure.
get woken up in the middle of the night and they're jumping out of the tree to try and fight a snake or something.
Yeah.
Another
So
spider comes up on us.
you and
I
Davina...
want there to be like... Go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, you and Davina each roll a D4 for how long it takes. And the
Okay.
lower roll, since you're working together, it's advantage. The lower roll is how long it takes. I got
1.
a 2. You got a 1. So you managed to do that
Oh, no.
really well in an hour for Diamondback and Davina. Here's what you find. Your strategy for a way to get into and out of the... Sorry, let's do the other one first. You do find a good branch. It's a nice solid place. It is not particularly safe unless you were to make it more safe, but you find a place that would work well, remembering that you'd just be sitting on a branch. As a separate task, you can try to like make some kind of shelter around it or something. But if somebody's out at night up there, they're just going to be out at night in a tree. But you do find a really good spot for it that works well for you. The second task is for the laddery type of thing. What you actually end up doing is you find a whole bunch of vines. We've described previously there are vines in this area quite a bit. And you find some nice, really long ones. And what you do is you tie the vine around the base of the tree, and then you wind it up the tree. It's a big old thick woody kind of vine, and it winds up the tree with a good 6 inches between each wind up the tree, and that effectively makes a kind of grip for you, like laddery stair kind of thing, all the way up
That's
there.
cool.
Yeah, and right underneath them, you put some twigs to make sure the spacing stays. Not twigs, like little branches that you find to make sure that right underneath the hole it stays kind of like keeps the right distance. You don't slip them. So it's a nice little ladder. Nobody would notice it if they're walking by. It would look like vines on a tree. The third thing, you go to the chimney. Again, like I said, it's about 6 inches of healthy wood, the thickness of the tree. And so you drill out several holes around the top with, a nice sharp rock that you find. It takes a little while, but you manage to do it. And you've got good, decent ventilation that is not going to, hurt you, or is not gonna, nothing's going to get in except for small spiders or, little small things might be able to get in. It's raining. Y'all are not like terribly, but it is, it's a little rainy. Y'all are wearied out a little bit from doing it in the rain, but you can keep on going. Davina and Diamondback, it is 7 a.m. The rain has now picked up. It's like, now it's fully rainy. It was drizzling before, as I mentioned to Belvari. 7 a.m., Yoshka and Belvari are still working. Gulb has slept and is... What's that?
Belvari, in the second hour, when he's extremely grumpy because it's taking longer, he realizes that he might be able to look for components as he's clearing all this stuff away. It makes him slightly happier, and he starts looking for components.
Instead of clearing the stuff away?
No, in the stuff that he's clearing.
Okay, I will do that, but and I'll roll that for you. I'm going to roll it with disadvantage because you're kind of working and not like putting your full attention to it. But I'll let you do it. Second hour, you don't find anything the second hour. Do you want to try again? Keep doing it on the third?
Yeah.
6, you don't find anything that hour either. But at least you have something to occupy. You're interested in trying. And you're doing
slightly less grumpy as he looks.
It is 7 a.m. Yoshka and Bavari are doing their stuff. Gulb, you wake up, and Davina and Diamondback have made things a fair bit nicer. You are getting a little wet in your sleep. That's kind of what woke you up. But you're not like grumpy about it. You're just there. Anybody? So Gulb, Davina, or Diamondback? Mm-hmm. What do you want to do?
Diamondback, it seems that I wanted to try and improve the lookout branch. Mm-hmm. So if we find that we've got a nice ladder made and some ventilation, I would like to also, and I see that they're still working on clearing out the space. I'll set to work on trying to like pile up some sticks and stuff up there so that the whoever is watching will have kind of a blind that they can look out from, mm-hmm. and maybe be a little bit hidden.
Okay.
While they're looking out for us up there.
What I'd like for you to do is roll. This is going to determine the quality of it. Roll me a D100.
Okay.
Do you have a 100-sided dice?
I actually do, but I don't know where it is at the moment, so I'm going to do the official way.
It's also worthless because it's basically a sphere.
Yeah, it takes forever to roll.
Oh.
it doesn't find its resting point very quickly.
And it's hard to tell which one is on top.
That's going to be a 74.
Good. Okay. That gives me a sense of how secure you're able to make it for things. That is, let's see, give me a second. 74, which is you make it, to give you a sense, you make it approximately as secure as the tree hollow itself.
Wow.
That was a good roll.
Good job, Matt.
We have I say, if any of the other folks notice my handiwork, I say, yes, the ways of the Snake Clan are most devious. We do prefer to remain hidden.
So good. That takes you, and do me a favor, Matt, are you working on it by yourself? Do you want to ask Davina to help? She's compliant because she's not here.
I'm hoping Davina would help.
Okay. For this, because it's you're building up something, I want you to roll me a D. Actually, let's make it a D4. The rain is heavier now. It's normal rain that we talked about, so it's with advantage, but it's going to double. I got a 3.
Understand what that means.
What did you roll?
Your number will be 2x.
Okay, well, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so 3. It takes you 6 hours to get a really solid shelter there.
Okay, so we're working for a good portion of the day.
Yeah, Gulb strips down to his shorts and is basically out there picking up small logs and moving them around. And
do you want to help them,
know.
or are you doing something else?
No, yeah, I mean Gulb's going to basically try to walk the perimeter and look for any game trails that are within a quarter of a mile. And if there are, he's going to try to literally knock down trees and stuff and try to redirect and reroute the game trails.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do that.
That's a good idea.
Roll me a D4 for how long that takes you.
Okay. 4.
Okay. You do that you're doing that at a good circumference, and you spend a lot of the day doing that. It's 8 hours. It's rainy and hard. That's what the rain's doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So he seems extremely happy in it.
Yeah, and you've done a good job. And I'm going to take all that into account when in encounters. It's 3 p.m. Now, before we go any further, I have to check. We do it in a watch-like system during the day because you're hunkered down. And for the first, let's see, no encounter. You do have an encounter. Okay. Sorry. All right, that's that. At about 10 a.m., Diamondback and Davina are up in the tree doing their work. Gulb is roaming around, doing really good wilderness survival-y stuff. At about sometime in the 10 to 1 hour, and Yoshka and Belvari have finished their work and are thinking of the next thing they're going to do. You see a creature.
I'm sorry, what time is it?
10 a.m.
It's 10 a.m.
Okay, awesome.
You're in the middle of your work, and this will not meaningfully interrupt your work. It's a short battle. Unless you die, then it'll meaningfully interrupt your work. I need someone to roll me a d12. Let's make it Gulb, since you're out in the perimeter. You're further out than anybody else.
And I happen to have a d12. 12.
I don't believe it.
Rolling all the big numbers here.
Yeah.
I hope that 12 does not mean that a Rancor
Lion!
pushes through the brush.
So
Woolly mammoth.
to let our listeners know what's going on with this, what I did is I generated 12 random encounter creatures, and 12 is not the rolling high or low doesn't matter. It's just which one it is in the list.
Sure.
You actually encounter surprise coming up. It's raining, so it's really wet. So this fits well. But you actually encounter a. Give me a second. I will tell you exactly what it is called. It is a. You encounter a sort of large-ish, jumping out of this little gully where there's a thick creek that's now got a lot of water running through it. To your surprise, a red-throated frog. Diamondback hears the croaking of it and has flashes back to his early days as an adventurer, encountering a red-throated frog.
It was most scary.
Go ahead and roll initiative.
Okay.
So I'm up on the tree. Can I see Gulb from
You
where I
can.
am?
You and Davina can see him. Belvari and Yoshka, you cannot see, but you'll be able to hear if there's any kind of calling for help.
Is he within 120 feet?
Yeah, he'll be 120 feet.
Are there too many branches for me to get line of sight on him?
Let me check. Let's see. A 12? Yeah, I'll give you line of sight. You can see sometimes. Like you can make a sight through. I'm going to use that as what I just rolled. I'm going to use that as a kind of a DC for line of sight, and you can ask me each time. And it's a good one. It was 12, so there's a good chance. I will tell you this guy right here, and it is. You know what I'm going to actually do real quickly, just for giggles, because you'll like the experience. There are actually 2 of these frogs.
Oh my.
Yay!
Lovely. Just lovely.
And we will run
Gulb's
this
gonna
encounter.
die.
Everybody roll initiative for me.
18.
Oh, maybe
Ooh.
12.
Gulb had 18.
Yep.
Belvari had 12. Yoshka
6.
and Diamondback.
5.
And
Hey man, if I wanted my little sister to roll initiative for me, I'd let her do it. Get good, bro. Get good.
Do better.
all right, let's do it. Gulb, it is your turn. You may, you were not surprised exactly. You weren't expecting them, but I mean they're big old giant frogs hopping around in the rain, and you're looking for animals and junk. So, go.
Yeah, I think Gulb is probably going to run up to them and do his Thunder Wave, and another one of those pieces disappears from his stuff, but they need to make a... Here we go. Sorry. They need to make a Constitution saving throw, DC 13.
I got a 11 and a 12.
All right. They both fail. So they're going to take 9 points of damage, and they're going to be flung back 10 feet. And out to 300 feet, everybody else in the party will hear a cacophonous, thunderous boom.
Okay.
And
Also all the bears. And
You,
dragons.
the two frogs, which had just turned to you and were seeing in Gulb a big old 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, reconnecting. Let's see what happens.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, how about that?
There you are.
Okay. These
Hey, Sir Robert.
yeah.
I this is just a possible thing about Progly. I think possibly is trying to stream like your desktop resolution to us. I don't know.
Okay.
It might be better for you to just send us your video. I feel like I can see everybody else better than I can see you.
Okay. I will try to figure that out.
Maybe.
Thanks. I'm not sure, but I'll see what I can figure out for it. Thank you. The 2 frogs, they come up out of this little gully. It's raining, and what they see is this big, tasty green grub kind of walking around up on top of this hill, and they're ready to eat it. But what they don't realize is that this big, tasty green grub is actually a big, tasty green gulb. And it immediately...
So close.
Almost. It immediately, this tasty green gulb, cast a crazy spell. Did you decrement your spells, by the way, Gulb?
Did.
Josh? They cast this thing on. They get flung back and are severely hurt. However, Undaunted, they share a frog-like glance with each other and decide to make good on their treacherous plans. I like the phrase "make good." The giant frog, you said it was blown back 30 feet?
No. They're only cast back 10 feet.
Oh, 10 feet, okay. So they're about 15 feet from you now. They have a speed of 30, okay? So frog number 1 makes its way towards you, and you're not a small creature. Attempts
I'm not.
to bite you. In doing so, it rolls a 10. Does that hit your armor class?
Nope.
It is wounded. It puffs out its throat and then lurches at you to bite you, but to no avail. It has misgauged the distance. Belvari, would you like to go?
Aren't there two of them?
Sure.
There are, but they didn't get initiative right next to each other.
Oh, okay.
Belvari, you heard a big thunder wave from nearby that did not sound natural.
Belvari, very excited to be done with his work, will run towards that thunder wave.
Okay. And you were... Go ahead.
How far was I?
You're about 100 feet away, different part of the little clearing area.
I'll go 60 feet.
Okay. You're now about 40 feet away, and you've heard the sound, and you can see Gulb fighting these frogs. Giant frog number 2 is going to do the same thing Giant frog number 1 did. He's going to try to bite. He rolls his thing. I actually rolled on D&D Beyond, but I'm going to do a nice sound for the... Ooh. He rolled a 9, which also does not hit. He does basically the same thing the other frog does. Tweedledee and Tweedledum here, the frogs seem incapable of landing a blow on Gulb the Terrifying. It is now Davina's turn. Davina is up in the tree with Diamondback because they're, working on stuff. She is ready at a moment's notice to do any curing, heal any wounds or anything. So what she does actually is she jumps down, clambers down the tree during her turn and makes a not hesitant, but a slower start towards. She's got some distance to go, but she's on her way there to the fight. She's not trying to fight. She's trying to be support. Yoshka, you were with Belvari clearing some stuff. You're about 100 feet away. You see Belvari take off, sprinting towards this big thunder that you also heard. What's up?
Okay, let's see. And let's see. I'm going to dash towards the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, how close does that bring me?
Belvari also dashed towards the sound. You're 40 feet away, more or less next to Belvari.
Okay, and then as a bonus action, I'm going to call out to Gulb. Hammer of stone, you are not alone. Friend, be strong, strike true.
Nice.
And what does Gulb experience in that?
I would imagine that my hammer begins to vibrate. My maul begins to hum with and becomes somehow a bit lighter, and I begin to heft it and I get a good grip on it and I smile.
All right, good. You did an encouraging word or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bardic Inspiration.
Bardic Inspiration. Yeah. Okay, great. That was Yoshka. It is Diamondback's turn. You are up in the tree. Roll me against a DC 12, just a straight perception. Let's call it. What is that? Wisdom or something?
Oh, is it perception?
Yeah, to see whether you on a DC 12 perception to see whether you have line of sight.
Can I do one for each of the two giant frogs?
Yeah, I'll do that. Why not?
Given that there are two of them.
There are two, and they're not in the same place. Not at the same time.
All right, so sorry. You did. Okay, first perception check. 12 plus 2 is 14.
You do see it.
Awesome, so I can see one of them. And the other one I can't see. It's 5 plus 2 is 7.
Okay.
So Diamondback from atop the tree is going to sort of cackle and rub his hands together and take out a scat of the red-eyed pig and make his cool ninja hand gestures, and it'll vanish in a puff of black mist. And he will make a ranged spell attack against the toad for Eldritch Blast. Ugly. It's only going to be a 9.
That is, let's see, that does not hit.
Yeah. So a beam of crackling energy streaks towards the frog, but goes right past it.
Slams. Diamondback rubs his hands together and pushes him forward, and this black crackling energy. Eldritch Blast is like almost a black lightning. That mist of the components turns into that, streaks towards them, but it misses. It crackles right around the frog. It is now Gulb's turn again.
I think Gulb is going to heft his hammer, his maul, and try to attack whichever one of these two looks like it might be more damaged than the other. I don't know if they do. I think they're about the same.
Yeah, they took the same
All
damage
right.
in the hit.
So yeah, that's a whopping. Oh,
Okay, so also, just to make sure you know,
go ahead.
the thing I said to you makes it so that you can add a 1d6 to an attack or saving roll or saving throw or ability check,
Okay.
and you get to choose which one to add it to, and you can choose if you want to add it after you roll.
Okay.
But before you figure out if it hits.
In that case, I use it, and that gets my 10 up to a 15 plus 3 is 18 to hit.
That definitely does hit.
Okay. So he's going to bring this hammer down on one of the two of them, and they're going to take 11 points of damage.
Well, I'll tell you what.
This maul is hot, hot, hot.
That's right.
It's a nice maul.
It's got
Gulb
frog
picks up-
guts all over it.
That's right. Gulb picks up his CB radio and says, Rubber duck, this here is Gulb. I'm going to put the hammer down. And picks up this massive hammer like he has been doing. But this time, instead of an overhand smash, he just pulls it over his head and swings from right to left straight into the side of this thing. And to Gulb's surprise, it does not seem to have a meaningful impact on the frog until he realizes that it emerges with a blast out the other side. The frog, now weighing significantly less than before, collapses to the ground while its entrails collapse to a nearby tree.
That's how we do it around here.
Frog
ball.
The frog that I picked for you to do randomly was the one whose turn it is now, so it is now Belvari's turn. You are 40 feet away.
The frog ball, that's triple inside. It's a new rule I made up. Because I made up frog ball. It's my game.
Belvari will move to just 10 feet towards the other frog and shoot at it with his sling.
Great.
That is a 10 to hit.
It does not hit.
So Belvari just goes, dang it.
The
Kept driving away in the van.
little stone or acorn or whatever just whizzes by. It's close. It's really close, but it doesn't quite hit. The frog doesn't notice because it's a frog. It is now the frog's turn. It is going to go for Gulb again because, again, it is a frog. It tries to bite. This time it rolls a 13. Does that hit?
Fortunately, no. Just
Okay.
barely, but no.
It rolls a 13, and its turn is over. It reaches forward to bite, fails for the second time in a row, possibly somewhat startled by the eviction of its brother's innards from its shell. Okay.
That's a pretty good triple inside, if I do say so myself.
So it's Davina's turn. Davina makes another good bit of progress for you. She's not trying to get into the combat. She's not hurrying exactly, expending a lot of her energy, but because it doesn't look like any of you are hurt, and it's a frog, and she's like seeing you take care of the other one. Yoshka, it is your turn. You are 40 feet away from the frogs, and Belvari took a few steps. He's 10 feet in front of you.
Okay, so that means I can't run up and attack it.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, if
Let's
you were
see.
35, you might have been able to.
So the frog is hurt, and I don't think I have any ranged things.
Don't you have a hatchet on you or something? A hand axe?
No.
Don't
We
you have
need
a
to
spell?
remedy that. Bearded, furred, rotund, gypsy forest men need to have hatchets.
Probably. Okay.
Now I'm just imagining them rolling through the forest.
I'm just gonna It looks like he's got this. I'm just gonna wait for Gulb to finish him.
Okay. Good. That sounds great. Diamondback, your turn.
So, does Diamondback see any living frogs?
Roll to see if you have line of sight from where you are. Roll your
Perception.
perception on a DC 12.
Oh boy! I just rolled a 20 for that perception check, so it's a 22.
You do see the frog right as it's ribbiting, and as a matter of fact, you see all the way through the frog's throat downwards, and you notice what it had for lunch.
Can I just take a shot right into the open mouth?
Do it.
You better
All
get
right.
your nose out of that frog's stomach.
Here comes a spell attack, just the same as I did before. 13 plus 4 versus the frog.
That does hit.
So this Eldritch Blast, my peers are going to see a beam of crackling energy, dark and nefarious, streak from the crow's nest that me and Davina have been constructing on the tree, and just crackle down right into the frog's open mouth, causing 1d10 of force damage, which is going to be, oh geez, I rolled a 1.
That hurts.
1 point of damage. Bing!
So here's what happens.
Its uvula gets flicked really, really hard.
Here's what happens. From up in the tree, you hear a just someone exulting in arcane power and the whoosh of components. And he swirls his hand, and it looks like everybody was kung fu fighting. And dark energy pulls from the forest into him, and he arches his back, thrusts his hands forward, and crackle and power emerges from every fingertip and every part of him into this frog, straight into its open mouth. And it pours this energy in, and the frog is damaged a little bit.
And burps.
And burps. That's right. I was going to say that, but then I was like, I don't want to lay it on too thick. No, but you're right.
It's
The frog's
given,
like,
it is given mild indigestion.
I thought you were gonna have Matt like begin to suffuse with light and energy, and then you see this one little fragment like comes shooting out and kind of like bounces off the frog's head. Oh my
would've been
gosh,
good
that
too.
was hilarious.
Okay, Davina. It is Davina's turn. She, again, is also like Yoshka, just watching, because it looks like it's in hand. These frogs are being decimated by this massive club and by these crackles of dark energy. It is now Yoshka's turn. Same thing. You're going to watch him go.
I'm gonna approach.
How far?
30 of the 40 feet.
Okay, you're 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wait, sorry. The Diamondback just did that. I'm sorry. It's Gulb's turn now. Yoshka, that's okay. I'll keep that. Yeah.
I think Gulb is gonna take a page out of his other big green heroes book and just smash. And that's an 18 plus stuff. I'm guessing that's going to get the job done.
That is a hit. What's the damage?
The damage is a 4 and a 1. That's 5 plus 1 is 6 points of damage.
You said 6 points?
6.
The frog is in terrible shape. It is not dead, but it wishes it were.
I think Gulb squares his jaw and leans in at it and just looks it dead in the eye and it just like waves his hand and beckons the frog.
So, and here's what you see happen. The hammer swings around just like he did before and slams into this frog. It doesn't do any visible damage on the outside, but you can see a lot of its joy leave its eyes. It is now Belvari's turn.
I'll knock the sad back into you.
Belvari, it's your turn.
Belvari will walk briskly up to the frog and hit him with a two-handed quarterstaff blow.
Roll it.
Oh my goodness. 9 to hit.
You miss. You swing the quarterstaff, but it's right as the frog's throat is collapsing during a croak. And what you expected that to be a solid piece, but it just wishes right by it. Davina approaches a little bit. Yoshka, you want to just keep watching? Or no, you said you want to do approach. Yeah, you're 10 feet away. Diamondback, it's your turn again.
Oh, I thought Yoshika was going to attack.
Oh, he's 10
Not quite
feet away.
close enough.
Yeah, he's almost close enough.
Okay. I am actually... Well, first let me see if I have line of sight on it.
Check.
19 plus 2, 21.
You do.
So I think I can see it. I'm actually going to take a slingshot at it.
Okay.
But it's going to be at disadvantage because my sling is only accurate out to 30 feet, but I can hit stuff up to 120 feet away as long as I take disadvantage on it.
Okay.
Why don't you move to within 30?
Because I'm way up on a tree, like 100.
Oh, I got you.
It would take me a turn to climb down and then 3 turns to get there. So I'm just gonna sling a rock at it with my sling.
Yep.
With disadvantage, and it's gonna be pretty poor. 5 plus 5 is 10. Does a 10 hit?
It does not, but it's close. It was really close. It was 11.
You see a rock go the way of the first of the magical blasts.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys know, the artillery is firing.
That's right.
Over your heads at the frog.
Diamondback
Rocks
has
and
your
blasts
back.
of magic, and it's coming down. It's not doing a whole lot, but
There's enough of us near the frog. I feel like we should roll to see if he hit.
Hey,
I was actually going to say if he rolled a 4 or lower to hit, I was going to see if it hits one of you.
that's a
Quit
good idea.
exfoliating the frog, man. This isn't a spa.
Gulb,
Kill
it's your turn,
Kill him.
Gulb.
He doesn't need a hot stone massage.
I think Gulb's drunk, so he skips his
all right.
turn.
So Gulb is going to do the same thing that he's been doing. Oh my gosh! And he rolls a 1. He goes to hit the frog, and it goes terribly awry.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Not too terribly. You are ineffectual and have no effect, but you don't, for example, fall prone.
Okay.
Or
all
supine,
right. So yeah,
whatever.
I think he watches Belvari swing at this thing and miss, and he watches the stone land right next to the frog, and he is being really judgmental, and he's like, you just crushed the frog, and he just brings it down, and he's just way too flustered in the moment, and
Yeah.
just like boom, the hammer goes down next to him.
Belvari, your turn again. You're right up there at the frog. You could try to hit it with your, frog sticker.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. Except quarterstaffs, but
Yeah. What you got?
A 13 to hit.
That does hit.
Nice. It does 9 damage.
Whoa!
Bludgeoning.
That's great. Your quarterstaff breaks through the top of the frog. You go between the eyes, and you just slam it down really hard. And one of the things you notice is that as you realize how hard you hit, that you're having actually a little bit of a difficult time unpinning the frog from the ground where your quarterstaff just sunk into the earth and nailed it there. But you get it out. The frog is extraordinarily dead, far deader than other frogs.
Even the one with his insides, like
they're about on par. You decimate. It is totally destroyed. Matt, you have seen this kind of frog before and have investigated some of what it had on it. If you want to, you can, you're out of initiative and for no meaningful cost, you can go down and tell them what you know about the components and whether they are worth anything.
Oh yeah, definitely. What's the name of the frog? What's the
red-throated frog?
The red-throated frog. Yeah. So when I get there, I tell them that the main thing that's valuable on the frog is the eyes. Try and get the eyes.
And I'm gonna tell you what there are, Matt, and you can tell them what you know about them. There, whether or not you know exactly, you can say that's good or that's not good. They are all 4 eyes are there, which is great. There's some skin, a foot, tongue, some glands, blood, and brain.
I say, what I say to them is, I've encountered a beast of this kind before. If you wouldn't mind, I would appreciate the eyes. They will be of great use. I also happen to know that the tongue and the brain are valueless. I've evaluated them. They maybe you can make a frog brain sandwich. The other body parts I know nothing about.
Gulb kind of holds up a hand to him and says, "A moment, please." And he pulls out a bit of snake and a bit of newt brain, and he rubs this paste together and begins to kind of sprinkle it over the pieces of the frog. And as they kind of crumble, they form into droplets.
Let me tell you what happens when he does that. So Gulb creates this little paste, as he said, out of these. It was a bit of snake and a bit of newt component.
Yep.
Is that what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is the black from the forest. Again, you most of the time you block out this mist. It's like very faint, but you notice that as it falls into the frog, you start noticing it more pronounced. It's not quite that you're Gulb. It's not quite that you're seeing it more. It's that you're noticing it better, right? And you see what you do end up seeing is that the eyes of this these 2 frogs have this swirling black magic around them, and you can tell that Gulb that they are much more magical. But none of the other parts of the frog have any intensity of swirling black magic mist. So, what that tells you, Gulb,
excuse me,
is that the eyes are the only magical components in this frog. For our listening audience and players, if you care to know, Josh, will you tell them what that was that you were doing?
So I used the components to cast the spell Detect Magic. And I used Detect Magic to help me identify the various different properties of everything on the frog. Or perhaps that was a harvest check, and so that told me what to harvest.
It just told you where there was concentrations of magic.
Okay.
So when you're looking at a creature...
So that's the harvest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I used it to help me harvest everything magical from the creature.
That's right. And I'll tell you, if you had been a creature and you saw like 4 magical things in it, just for example, and several non-magical, and you rolled and you got you could get 4 components out of it. You could cherry pick the 4 good ones. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So for you players and listeners as well, Detect Magic, this is the first time anybody's used Detect Magic in the game. It is a very powerful spell, even though it's a low-level spell. In this world where magic is so prolific, it is a powerful spell. The more Detect Magic you get, the more shortcuts you can take in the world like this. There are other uses for it than this, but Gulb has demonstrated a really effective one here. What that tells you is you're not going to waste hours determining if these other components have anything. They don't. But the eyes, he can tell are. So, Gulb,
Yeah.
Diamondback has requested the eyes and said he doesn't know anything about anything else. What do you want to say?
Gold turns to him and says, "Indeed, only the eyes have any power. It is true. There is no use for anything else." And he just kind of takes the 4 eyes and just puts them in his hands and turns and walks away.
I mean, I guess in the sense of divvying them up a little more fairly, Diamondback will take 2 of them and hold out the other 2 to anybody else who might want to grab them.
And also,
I have a
Go ahead.
technical question.
uh
Does the other stuff work for wild shape, or does it need to have a?
yeah, you could pick them up for Wild Shape. I can tell you what you can get for them. I mean, not what you can
Okay.
get, but I can tell you how many of them you can
The
get.
numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need eyes. I'm good.
Dwight, I'm gonna on your screen here. On your pouch. I'm just gonna enter these in real quickly to save us some
Okay.
effort.
Well, here, let me paste in what I have, and you can just do the numbers.
Okay.
Diamondback starts describing the rope trick spell that the eye can enable one to do.
Do it. Tell us.
It's a. Oh, I was going to just let that be narrative, but sure.
These guys may
Diamondback.
not know what it does, right? Like Yoshka may not know.
Right. Yeah. So I say, the eyes will need more components than just the eyes, but if you have enough to cast the spell that is connected to this component, you can touch a length of rope that is up to 60 feet long, and one end of the rope then rises up into the air until the whole rope hangs perpendicular to the ground. At the upper end of the rope, an invisible entrance opens to an extra-dimensional space that lasts until the spell ends, which is like an hour, dude. The extra-dimensional space can be reached by climbing to the top of the rope, and the space can hold as many as 8 medium or smaller creatures. The rope can be pulled into the space, making the rope disappear from view outside the space. Attacks and spells can't cross through the entrance into or out of the extra-dimensional space, but those inside can see out of it as though through a 3-foot by 5-foot window centered on the rope.
So
basically, if we can get the components to cast this spell, it's a extremely safe place to hide for an hour. Almost guaranteed to be safe from any animals.
yeah, and that assessment is extremely good. It is almost guaranteed to be safe from animals. There may be a couple of, there it's possible there could be something that climbs the rope or whatever.
But I guess I'll take all 4 of the eyes if nobody tries to take them from me.
Yeah, Gold gives you a confused look and says, "If you are the only one who has the others, then why would you not take
Oh, I
them?"
don't have any of the others.
Well, at least you know.
So
You take...
just as a note for you guys, one of the things you can also do if you're not sure, who wants what or whatever, just stick it in the shared pouch, right, the backpack, and sometime if somebody's looking for one, they can go in there and grab it out.
And so rope trick is a what level spell?
Second level.
Second level spell.
Okay.
Okay.
That is a decent place for us to stop tonight. We're out of time. What we're going to do next time is we're going to pick up in the late, in the mid afternoon. We will describe what's happening in the late afternoon and roll to see if there's more encounters, and we will find ourselves towards another evening, hopefully You've made everything really safe and secure. You found yourself in a good spot to be able to rest the night, to go further on your adventure next time. Thanks everybody for listening. You can get more details about the world that we are exploring and the story that we are telling at the starfallcollective.com. Have a good night.